Alright, so we got the iPod plugged into the computer, and we have iTunes open. And iTunes is the software that it comes with. This is the program, or if you're using a Mac, the application that you use to pretty much as an interface with your iPod. Put stuff on it, take things off, manage your music, all this stuff. So how do we get things like music and video and photos onto the iPod? iTunes does it all for us, okay? How easy is that? Well, there's a couple different ways that you can do it. You can either have iTunes do everything for you, it calls this syncing, or you can manage everything manually. Pull things back and forth and, pick and choose what you want on there. Syncing has the advantage of being very easy. You don't need to mess around with anything. It'll automatically update things on your iPod, automatically drag new photos on and stuff like that all for you. The disadvantage of that is you need to have all that stuff on your computer, and you need to keep it constantly on your computer. For instance, if I sync my iTunes music, meaning everything that's in iTunes, with everything that's on the iPod, they're always going to be synced together unless I'm manually managing things. So if I here, let me show you over here. If I zoom in over here, see how over here it says Library, Music? Okay, if I click on here, here's all the stuff that's on my computer. Okay, if I go down here and click on iPod Music, this is all the stuff that's on the iPod. Now if I have all this stuff over here and I'm syncing automatically with iTunes, and I go back into here and I delete everything but Neil Diamond's greatest hits, the next time I plug the iPod in, it's going to ask me, oh, do you want to sync with your iTunes library? If I click yes, guess what I have on my iPod? None of this stuff anymore. Just Neil Diamond's greatest hits. That's it. So, it does make things easier, but you need to be aware of what you're doing if you're syncing, because it will do stuff automatically. So I manually manage everything. How do we manually put songs, music on the iPod? Well, first we need it on our computer. How do we do that? Well, if you don't already have it in digital format on your machine, you need to physically put the CD in there and upload it into your computer. How long does that take? It honestly completely depends on how quick your computer is, how quick the CD drive is, and how quick the computer performs functions like that. So it could take anywhere from 30 seconds to 2 minutes to put a full-length record on your computer. How fast does it go onto the iPod from there? Well, just happen to have this over here, this folder. This is a full-length record. It's a 10-song record. So we're gonna put it on the iPod right now. Click and drag, hover over here. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. We release. So it's gonna put it on there. It take a second. The hard drive's winding up. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, and that's it. It's done. So now, it probably took about 10 seconds. I mean, initially the hard drive had to wind up. If I'm copying more than one record at once, that initial wind-up time doesn't have to happen every time it transfers files. So to do a full-length record, it might take maybe 12 or 15 seconds. After that, every song probably goes on there in about a second. So it's pretty quick. Let's talk about iTunes a little bit. What does iTunes do? Well, we already saw that it lets me put music onto the iPod, and I did, if you notice, I dragged it straight from a folder here on my desktop right on there. You can do that. The other option is just going into my music library over here. If I want to, I don't know, get Black Sabbath on here, I just take this record. See how over here it says plus 16? That means it's going to put all 16 songs from this record onto the iPod. I already have that on there, so no big deal. That's how you drag stuff from iTunes right onto it. And it'll do the same thing with movies. This is actually, let's see. Here's all the movies I have in my my iTunes library. Got a couple Counting Crows videos live. Faves, really great band from Switzerland. Any of these I can just highlight them, and again, drag them right over to the iPod, plus 6 videos if I want to put those on there. Okay. So that's how that works. With photos, it's pretty much the same thing. You can go into here, into the little iPod interface, and it shows me a summary. Got my music over here. We can sync the music if we want, display the album artwork, all songs and playlists. Notice I do not sync the music. I do everything manually. Got movies, TV shows, podcasts, photos. We can sync from iPhoto. We can sync from a selected album or something. You sure you want to sync photos? No, I don't want to. So photos are really the only thing that you can't really drag on there manually, and it's pretty much just because they don't take up any space. If you want to just drag a whole folder of photos on there, it's barely even going to register on. This is the amount of space I have left on the iPod. I got, you know, almost 9 gigs of audio on there, 14 megabytes of video. Look at how much space the photos take up compared to that stuff. It's almost nothing. So, you know, syncing photos, no big deal. iTunes also plays music. It'll play from the iPod. It'll play, you know, from the iTunes library, what you have on your machine. It's a pretty good music player. Apple products, at least from my experience, from owning a computer that I bought recently and owning the iPod, pretty much the way that they work is they're very, very easy to use if you want to use basic features. If I want to play music, I just click on the thing. You know, if I want to drag stuff on the iPod, I just highlight it, drag it right over. If I, you know, very easy to use for basic functions. They're also loaded with tons of features. If you want to get more in depth with what the software does, you can do that as well. We go in here to Advanced, for instance, or maybe Preferences. Okay, I go into my iTunes Preferences. This opens up the preference pane. We can go into Advanced. Let's show you over here. Okay, import using AAC encoder, AIFF, Apple lossless, MP3, WAV. This software will convert audio files from different formats for you if you want it to. You can set the quality, 128, 160, 112, 116, set the sample rate, set the channels, mono or stereo, variable rate encoding, optimize for voice, default set. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that it does. You know, just understand that when you're getting this this program, don't be daunted by the fact that it's got this interface with all this stuff and there's all these buttons and stuff that you can do. It's very easy to use if you want to just use the basic functions. Get the music on the iPod so you can listen to the freaking thing in the car, and that's all you want to do with it. If, however, you need a little bit more, you need a more powerful program, this is still the ticket to it. You know, you want to, you're an audiophile and you want to encode the things in lossless format so it doesn't compress the audio and you don't lose any audio quality from putting it on an MP3 player like the iPod. It'll do that. You know, it does a lot of stuff, so that's that. Let's actually, we're going to eject the iPod and then we'll show you some of the extra features that it has. The thing to note, this software does work with Windows and with Mac, so no worries if you have a PC. Okay, so we got the thing ejected. Another note about this scroll wheel interface over here. Positive note about this, if I'm running or if I'm driving in the car or something, I don't have both hands free, I can get to anything on this unit with just my thumb, just holding it in one hand, so that's good. A negative note about it is sometimes, I mean, I'm driving around in the car, I got a big long list of music over here, and I'm scrolling down here, I might come to this one, and oops, I wanted the one above it. Sometimes I wind up going, oops, and I go maybe a couple above it, and I gotta go, and I might have to take my eyes off the road a little bit longer than normal. It's really the only issue that I've ever seen with it, and you do kind of get used to it, but I wish that they kind of made the sensitivity on this adjustable. Other than that, I don't really have any complaints about it. So, real quick, we'll go into extras, which is other stuff that it has besides playing music videos and showing you photos. So, got over here a clock. It does all sorts of different time zones. We got some games on it, solitaire, parachute, music quiz. I mean, the only thing that I actually really use is every once in a while I use the stopwatch if I'm running, okay? Which is a neat feature to have. You know, you want to time yourself, listen to some music while you're on. That's good to have. And you can sync your calendar, contacts, which is you know, iTunes will take stuff from your computer, like contacts that you have, email addresses, phone numbers, all that stuff. It'll sync it with your iPod if you want it to. And you can also lock the screen, which I don't do, but set a combination lock on it so in case the thing ever gets stolen, no one else can ever use it. So that's the iPod, and I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, for what it is, it's an amazing little piece of equipment, and it's certainly changed the way that I listen to music. I don't carry CDs around anymore. I just use this thing, and pretty much got all the CDs that I would ever want to listen to here. Bring it in the car, I can bring it to my friend's house, I can bring it running with me, bring it on vacation. That's it. So, iPod, pretty neat. Not a perfect device. It does have a couple little quirks, but for what it is, it's pretty neat, and I think it's worth every penny. So, any questions? You know, feel free to send me a message. Thank you for watching.